The books I read in 2016, I'll divide it in non-fiction, fiction, and manga. Non-fiction. Walter Laqueur, Young Germany. This is brilliant cover design, by the way. It's a book from 1962, and it's about the German youth movement, which started in the late 19th century, and up to the Second World War, when it basically died. And on the same subject, Tham, Berliner Republik. It's a Swedish book written by a person who was ambassador in Berlin. It's really interesting. It made me grasp Germany's development after the Second World War and how the state was built up, the difference between politicians and the courts and so on. Keith Johnstone, Impro. This is a reread from when I was a teenager. It's about theater and improvisation. It's a classic. And bordering on self-help, How to Live in the City by Hugo Macdonald. It's actually, there's a really good quote here in the section, Who is this book for? I tell my friends and family I love this city because there's so much to do here, but if I'm honest, I feel bad because I never do any of it. And that's basically a description of me, so I needed this self-help book. And the last one this is reportages, Haruki Murakami, Underground. This is a reportage book with interviews. It's about the sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subway in 1995. And he has met lots of those people who were affected by this attack. It was an attack by a Japanese sect. And it was really, this is 600 pages of interviews, and still it's only half the size of the original Japanese version. I think that I came closer to understanding the Japanese society by reading this one, because it's, these people, they lost their sight, some of those who were in the subway. Everything got dark for them, and still they went on and went to their workplace until their boss commanded them to go to the hospital. It's an amazing story, and I feel that Murakami has such a love for people. I really recommend this one. So let's move on to fiction. And let's start with Haruki Murakami, because this is his a collection of short stories. Men Without Women. I read all Murakami books in Swedish because I usually I always read translations of works in Swedish translation. If it's not a work in English or German, then I read it in English or German. Really good short story collection. All of them could evolve into novels. The Illuminatus Trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea. This is a reread. I read this one in 2000. It's a classic, and you need to be a bit intoxicated while you read it, and then it's great. And The Narrow Corner by Somerset Maugham. It's from 1932. Really sort of a low-key thriller almost. Set on the sea, mostly. Very recommended as well. And the last one in the fiction category is Umberto Eco's last book. In Italian it is called Numero Zero. Not good at all. So let's move on to manga, because 2016 was the year when I finally broke through, and because I studied Japanese. And I could start reading manga without a lot of trouble, so it really became an enjoyable experience, which is, of course, very important. So the first one is Yotsubato, Volume 4. Yotsubato is a really sweet children's manga about 5-year-old Yotsuba. You smile so much when you read it, so I recommend this one as a first manga to read for people who study Japanese. Of course, it's available in scanlations and stuff like that on the internet as well. And then the next batch is boys manga, or rather for middle schoolers, I think. Duel Masters, volume 6 of one of the series in the Duel Masters. It's about a trade card system. I don't know much about these things, but boys manga are generally easy to understand because it's a lot of fighting and lots of action, and after a while you learn all the expressions that they use. Inazuma Ireben, it's a football manga, volume 1 of one of the last seasons. Really sweet. I like sports manga for some reason. Yokai Watch, the very first volume. Yokai Watch is very popular in Japan. It's a bit like Pokemon, and it has evolved into a popular game and animes. And the next batch is shoujo manga. That's manga for teenage girls. And the first one is Kokoro Botan, the heart button. I read the first volume already, so this is volume 2 and volume 3. Very sweet. It's about a girl who tried to make a boy her girlfriend. Her boyfriend. And Yugame-kun ni wa tomodachi ga inai. Yugame-kun doesn't have any friends. That is, I just bought this by chance in Japan. It's volume 3 already. It's not really about him so much. It's more about the girls who talk about him and wonder, why doesn't he have any friends? In general, shoujo manga is harder to understand because it's so psychological and they talk a lot about their feelings and My favorite of them, though, is this one. It's a one-shot called Akuto Danshi Correction, Rough Boy Collection or something like that. It's about a poor girl who has to live in a dorm which is boys only. She's the only girl there. And all the boys, especially the leader, sexually harass her, which leads her to fall in love with him. So you can... it's totally crazy, but I love that. And the last one, well, the next to last one, this is also a boys manga or a sports manga. It's a boxing manga called Hajime no Ippo. It's very popular. I love boxing. I've seen Ashita no Joe, Tomorrow's Joe, the anime series, and since I jumped right into this one, volume 105, I just came into some match, but it's enjoyable, and I will continue with this one as well if I have the chance. The last one, this is called Jitensha Danshi ni Aioshita. I fell in love with a bicycle boy is the English translation here by Akira Yomoyama, and it's a road bike manga about the everyday life of a cyclist. So it's not a sports manga like Yowamushi Pedal, for example. And I met this author in Tokyo at an event. He was very nice. This is actually a collection of 4 different doujinshis, self-published works. And they made it eventually into this beautiful volume. This is without furigana, by the way. It's without these little help texts above the kanji. And that was all the books that I read in 2016.